Get a real job. Everyone knows you're just a glorified mechanic. My golden brother said. So I pulled the $16 million contract his company relied on and watched his career implode. Okay, I need to get this off my chest. This story has been weighing on me for months now, and I think writing it all out might help me process everything that's happened. I never planned to nuke my twin brother's career and cut off my entire family. But then again, they never planned to respect me either, so I guess we're all full of surprises. Let me set this straight from the beginning. Me, 32 male, and my twin brother Liam, 32 male, couldn't be more different if we tried. Growing up, you'd think he was the chosen one while I was some disappointment they got stuck with in a buy one get one free deal. I was the twin who spent weekends rebuilding transmissions instead of networking at country clubs. The one who got grease under his fingernails instead of manicures. The one our parents looked at with that, "Where did we go wrong?" expression at every single family dinner. We weren't always so different. When we were really young, around 6 or 7, we were inseparable. Built forts together, rode bikes around the neighborhood. Normal twin stuff. But things started changing in middle school. Liam discovered he was good at sports and making friends. I discovered I was good at taking things apart and figuring out how they worked. By high school, we were complete strangers who happened to share the same face and the same house. Our whole lives, Liam was the success story. Varsity quarterback, honor roll, business school, designer clothes, the whole package. Meanwhile, I was the guy tearing down engines and fabricating custom parts that nobody in my family thought would amount to anything. I still remember the day I rebuilt my first carburetor at age 14. I spent all weekend on it, meticulously cleaning every part, figuring out how it all went together. When I finished, I ran into the house, excited to show my parents what I'd accomplished. They were in the living room watching Liam's football highlights from Friday's game for the third time. "Mom, Dad, look what I made." I held up the gleaming carburetor. My mom barely glanced at it. "That's nice, honey." "Oh, look at that tackle Liam made." My dad didn't even look up. "Put that greasy thing away before you stain the carpet." That became the pattern for our entire adolescence and adult life. "When are you going to get a real job, Mason?" My mom would ask this at least twice at every family gathering, while my dad nodded along with that disappointed head tilt. Liam would just sit there with that smug smile, sipping whatever trendy craft cocktail he was into that month. "Not everyone has the ambition to succeed, Mom," he'd chime in, like he was doing me a favor by explaining my existence. "Some people are just happy tinkering in garages." The worst part was how they all acted like they were concerned for my future, like they were trying to help me by pushing me toward a proper career path. They didn't understand that I already knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. They just couldn't see the value in it. I remember one Thanksgiving when I just graduated college. Liam showed up in a brand new Audi, wearing this cashmere sweater, talking about how he'd already lined up this fancy job at one of the biggest truck manufacturers in the country. "Director of Corporate PR," he announced, making sure everyone heard it. "Corner office, expense account, company car." He smirked at me across the table. "What about you, Mason? Still fixing up those junkers?" My dad actually laughed. "Maybe Liam can hook you up with a job in the mailroom or something." The entire extended family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, and they all chuckled along. My cousin Ethan, who I'd always been close with, gave me a sympathetic look from across the table. But he didn't speak up either. "Actually," I said, trying to maintain my dignity, "I've been developing some custom modifications for off-road vehicles. There's a real market for high-end tactical and expedition builds." Aunt Cheryl patted my hand condescendingly. "That's nice, dear. But wouldn't you rather have job security, benefits, a retirement plan?" "Mason's just going through a phase," my mother said, as if I wasn't sitting right there. "He'll come around when he gets tired of getting his hands dirty." That cut deep, but I just shrugged and kept eating. Let them think what they wanted. I had plans they couldn't even comprehend. That night, after everyone had gone home, I sat in my garage looking at the prototype suspension system I'd been developing. It was innovative. I knew it was. It could handle terrain that would destroy standard factory equipment. I'd already shown it to a few serious off-roaders who were impressed. There was something here, something real, even if my family couldn't see it. I made a decision that night. I wouldn't waste energy trying to convince them of my worth. I'd just build something so undeniably successful they'd have to acknowledge it, or not. Either way, I'd know what I'd accomplished. So right after college, me and my boy Wyatt started Talon Expeditions out of my garage in Pinecrest. We focused on high-end tactical and overland vehicle modifications, turning regular 4x4s into apocalypse-ready beasts that could handle anything from Moab's trails to military deployment zones. We didn't have investors or daddy's connections, Just pure mechanical knowledge, engineering skills, and a vision for builds that nobody else was doing. Our first 6 months were brutal. 18-hour days, living on ramen and energy drinks. I sold my car to buy equipment, maxed out credit cards for our first CNC machine. We slept on cots in the garage because we couldn't afford rent and building the business. I remember many nights lying awake on that uncomfortable cot, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Maybe my family was right. Maybe this was just a fantasy. During those early days, I went to one Sunday dinner at my parents' house. Liam was there, talking about the executive retreat his company had just paid for in Aspen. Meanwhile, I had grease permanently embedded in my fingerprints and bags under my eyes from lack of sleep. My mom pulled me aside in the kitchen. "Honey, you look exhausted," she said, actual concern in her voice. "This garage business is running you into the ground. It's not too late to apply for a real position somewhere. Maybe Liam could—" "I'm fine, Mom." I cut her off. "The business is just getting started. It takes time. But is it actually making any money? Because it seems like—" I walked out of the kitchen before she could finish. I didn't go back for Sunday dinner for months after that. The first breakthrough came when we designed this modular roof rack system that could support a full camping setup while still being compatible with tactical gear. It solved a real problem that serious overlanders had. They needed equipment that could adapt to different scenarios without requiring a complete vehicle rebuild. The design was elegant but tough, lightweight aircraft-grade aluminum with an innovative mounting system that could be reconfigured in minutes without tools. We'd spent countless hours perfecting it, testing it with ridiculous weight loads until we were confident it wouldn't fail in the field. We posted some pictures online in a few overlanding forums, and suddenly we had orders coming in. Not just from weekend warriors, but from hardcore enthusiasts, professional expedition teams, and even a couple of military contractors. Our inbox was flooded with requests, and for the first time, I felt like we might actually make this work. Our first $10,000 order felt unreal. Wyatt and I stared at the email, then drove to the beach at midnight, drinking soda on his truck and planning everything we wanted to build. Not long after came the $45,000 order for a custom search and rescue vehicle. They found us through a forum post, called with doubts, and I hit them with footage of our gear getting punished in real-world conditions. 2 days later, the deal was sealed. We pulled an all-nighter sketching designs, laughing about how our professors said we'd never make it. Mine called my suspension system unrealistic, and now we were getting paid to build it. That job was rough. Mistakes, budget issues, barely any profit, but the final result blew them away. They posted it online, and within days, more teams reached out. By the end of year 1, we hired 3 fabricators and moved into a small shop. By year 3, we were in a 20,000 square foot facility with 20 employees. I still remember walking through it, echoes bouncing off the walls, realizing we'd built something real. Through all of this, my family still acted like I was just playing around with trucks. They never asked about the business, never asked to see the shop, never showed a single ounce of interest or pride. I did try once around year 3 to share my success with them. We'd just landed our first government contract, a series of specialized border patrol vehicles designed for desert operations. It was a huge deal for us, worth over $2 million. The client had chosen us over 3 established companies with decades of experience because our designs were more innovative and effective. I called my parents that night, genuinely excited to share the news. "Hey Mom, guess what? We just landed a massive contract with Border Patrol." There was a pause. "That's nice, honey. Did I tell you Liam got nominated for an industry award? For his marketing campaign?" "No, you didn't," I said, deflated. "That's great. He's being flown to Chicago for the ceremony. They're putting him up in a 5-star hotel. I'm so proud of him." "That's really something," I managed. "You should call and congratulate him." "Oh, and are you coming to Sunday dinner? Liam's bringing his new girlfriend. She's a pharmaceutical sales representative. Very successful." I made an excuse about being busy with work. After that, I stopped trying to share my accomplishments with them. At family gatherings, while Liam bragged about corporate retreats and executive lunches, I kept quiet about our military contracts, our expanding facilities, our growing client list. Why bother? They'd made up their minds about me long ago. Christmas dinner 2 years ago was a perfect example. We were all sitting around the table. My parents, Liam, me, and a few relatives. "Had lunch with the CFO today," Liam announced as he carved the turkey. "They're really grooming me for executive leadership." Mom beamed. "That's wonderful, honey. I always knew you were destined for the top." Dad raised his glass. "To Liam's continued success." Everyone clinked glasses while I silently took a bite of mashed potatoes. Then Mom turned to me. Mason, sweetie, have you thought about going back to school? Maybe get an MBA like your brother? It's never too late to start a real career. I could feel everyone at the table waiting for my response, expecting me to admit that I'd wasted years of my life tinkering while Liam climbed the corporate ladder. I'd just smile and say, I'm good with where I am, Mom. My Uncle Dave chuckled. Still fixing up trucks in your garage, huh? Well, I guess someone's got to do it. If they only knew I'd signed the lease on our third facility that morning. If they only knew our revenue had just passed $20 million for the year. If they only knew I'd been interviewed for a major industry magazine the previous week. But they didn't ask, so I didn't tell them. I just passed the gravy and changed the subject. What they didn't know, that by year 5, my company had over 50 employees across 3 locations, pulling in over $30 million a year. We had military contracts, a killer team, and a custom-built testing facility where we pushed vehicles through every extreme condition you can think of. We weren't just in the game, we were setting the standard. But the real thing that they obviously didn't know is that one of our biggest clients, my brother Liam's company, the premium truck package they bragged about, our design, our build, our name behind it, he had no clue he was basically working for one of my clients. It started when one of their engineers saw our builds at a trade show and reached out. One meeting turned into a full-blown partnership. We handled the design and production, they slapped it on their trucks and marketed it like gold. It became their top-selling package, with buyers dropping an extra $30,000 just for our mods. I never said a word to my family. They kept acting like my garage business was cute, while Liam paraded around like he ran the world. Every family gathering, he was showing off his Rolex, bragging about golf with execs, flashing that smug look like I was barely getting by. Meanwhile, I was running a multi-million-dollar operation he unknowingly depended on. My mom still introduced me as the one who works with cars, while Liam got the red carpet. He's the executive. I could have set the record straight 100 times, but I didn't. Watching them stay clueless was its own kind of satisfying. But you should have seen how different our lives were. Liam's world was all conference rooms, PowerPoints, and kissing executive backside. Everything was about appearance. The right watch, the right address, the right vacation photos for Instagram. Every time we'd see each other, he'd flash his Rolex or drop hints about his country club membership or the celebrity he met at some charity gala. Always with that look, that I've made it and you haven't look. He lived in a luxury high-rise downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows and a concierge. He drove a new car every 2 years, always something German and expensive. His wardrobe was full of tailored suits and designer casual wear. He took vacations to places that looked good in photos. His entire life was curated for external validation. I lived differently. I bought a modest house on 5 acres outside the city where I could have a massive workshop and test vehicles without neighbors complaining. I still drove my restored 1978 Bronco most days, though I had a few other project vehicles. My closet was full of worn jeans, work boots, and t-shirts with the occasional button-down for meetings. My vacations were spent in places like Moab, Baja, and the Rubicon Trail, testing new designs in real-world conditions and connecting with the overlanding community. My world was raw and real, welding sparks, motor oil, rock music, and a team of tatted-up builders and ex-military engineers pushing gear to its limits. Mornings were for design, afternoons for prototyping, evenings for testing. Hard work, non-stop problem-solving. I came home wrecked but fired up, already thinking about the next build. There was this one time Liam stopped by the shop, the only time he ever came by. It was year 3, and we'd just moved into our first real facility. He showed up unannounced in his pressed slacks and button-down, looking wildly out of place. I was in the middle of testing a new roll cage design with the team. We had the frame mounted on our hydraulic press, applying thousands of pounds of pressure to find the weak points. The shop was loud with machinery, music playing over the speakers, and the team shouting measurements to each other. I was covered in metal dust and sweat, completely in my element. "So this is your workshop," he said, like he was visiting a third-world country. He couldn't even hide his disgust at the grease stains on the floor. He winced as the hydraulic press made a loud hissing noise. "Yep," I said, not bothering to give him the tour. "It's quaint." He picked his way through the shop, careful not to touch anything. He stepped around a puddle of coolant like it might leap up and attack his Italian leather shoes. "How many people work here? Just you and Wyatt?" "About 15 at that point," I said, nodding toward the team working in various areas of the shop. He laughed. 15? For a garage shop? Bit excessive, don't you think? I just shrugged. "We make it work. What exactly do you do here anyway? Just fix up old trucks?" He gestured vaguely at a military-grade communication system we were installing in a tactical response vehicle. I could have explained that we were building some of the most advanced expedition vehicles in the world. I could have shown him the custom search and rescue truck we just completed for the Forest Service, or the prototype amphibious vehicle we were developing. I could have told him about our government contracts and international clients. Instead, I just said, pretty much. He nodded, as if I'd confirmed everything he already believed about me. Well, if you ever want to get into something more professional, let me know. I might be able to put in a word at my manufacturer. We always need people in maintenance. I'll keep that in mind, I said. He left after 10 minutes, probably to go disinfect himself. Never asked what we actually did. Never asked to see any of our builds. Just wanted to confirm his belief that I was still the loser twin playing with trucks. After he left, Wyatt came over, wiping his hands on a shop rag. Was that your brother? Yep. Does he have any idea that his company is in talks with us about that new package? I shook my head. Not a clue. Wyatt laughed. That's going to be an interesting conversation someday. If it ever happens, I said. I'm not convinced my family would notice if I built a rocket ship in the backyard. The irony? His manufacture was becoming increasingly dependent on my innovations. The Talon Edition trucks were Ridgeline's hottest sellers, commanding premium prices and generating massive press. Liam even worked on the marketing campaign for them, bragging about how he was repositioning the brand toward the adventure lifestyle segment. At a family barbecue last summer, Liam couldn't stop talking about this amazing vendor that was revolutionizing their off-road lineup. Liam was mid-story again, holding court at the patio table like he always did, drink in hand, sunglasses on, voice loud enough for every aunt, uncle, and second cousin to hear. These Talon guys are next level. Real innovation, military-grade stuff. Not just hobbyist mods or backyard projects. This is engineering. I stood at the grill, flipping burgers, already knowing where this was going. Honestly, Mason, he said, turning toward me, you could learn a thing or two from them. Might help turn your garage gig into something real. A few heads turned. My mom gave that tight-lipped, he's just teasing smile. But Liam wasn't done. You've been doing whatever it is you do for years now. Still living out in Pinecrest like it's some post-apocalyptic movie set? Still posting truck pics like anyone cares? Get your life together, man. You're a joke, and everyone sees it but you. The whole table went awkwardly quiet. He chuckled, as if that was somehow supposed to soften the blow. I mean, I say this out of love. You're my brother. But eventually, the fantasy's gotta end. Real men have careers, offices, responsibilities. Mom finally piped in, like she was offering support. Maybe Liam could help get your resume in shape, sweetie. They're looking for hands-on people in the service department. I just stared at the grill, the smell of charred meat mixing with burnt pride, and nodded once. Didn't say a word. Let them laugh. The truth? The truth was already in motion. They just hadn't caught up to it yet. And I didn't plan to tell them or waste my energy on Liam, although he keeps humiliating me. But I couldn't care less, and the world could deal with him. I could see it coming. But as Talon grew, I found myself living in two separate worlds. In one, I was the founder and CEO of a rapidly expanding company with international clients and military contracts. In the other, I was still the disappointment twin who couldn't get his shit together. It was surreal sitting in Pentagon briefings in the morning, then getting lectured about career stability by my parents over dinner that night, or closing a $12 million contract, then having Liam explain how I should really consider getting a real job with benefits. But there was this weird comfort in their ignorance. It was like a social experiment. How successful can I get before my own family notices? How long can they maintain this narrative they've built around me? Meanwhile, Talon kept expanding. We opened a second facility in Arizona for desert testing, started developing proprietary tech for extreme environment vehicles, launched a clothing and gear line that took off immediately. Wyatt would sometimes ask, "Dude, when are you going to tell your family about all this?" I'd just shrug. When they ask, they never did. Then, things got even weirder when Liam's manufacturer decided to make our partnership more official. They wanted to brand their top-tier off-road trucks as Talon Edition vehicles, with our custom packages installed directly at the factory. The contract was worth $16 million annually, plus royalties on every unit sold. It was a massive deal for us, taking us from aftermarket customizer to OEM partner. Our lawyers spent weeks negotiating the details. The whole time, Liam was part of their corporate team handling the marketing strategy. He'd send these press releases to their partners, including us, about how Ridgeline was partnering with the innovative leaders at Talon Expeditions to redefine the off-road segment. I'd read these emails with his name in the signature, while he was simultaneously texting me shit like, "Hey bro, you need to grow up and find a career. Mom's worried about your future." One night, after a particularly condescending family dinner where Liam spent 20 minutes detailing his recent promotion, I almost broke. Almost pulled out my phone and showed them our company financials. Almost told them that their golden boy was essentially working for his loser brother. But I didn't. Something told me to wait, to let this play out naturally. And let me tell you, that patience paid off in the most spectacular way possible. Everything exploded last month at Liam's manufacturer annual industry gala. I never attend these corporate circle jerks, but Wyatt was down with the flu, and someone had to represent Talon for the unveiling of our new collaborative package. The event was peak corporate: ballroom, concept trucks on turntables, and execs patting themselves on the back for work they didn't do. I kept it low-key in jeans, a wrinkled button-down, and my work boots. Non-negotiable. I spotted Liam immediately. Designer suit, fresh haircut, that fake laugh he does around important people. He was surrounded by yes-men, holding court like he owned the place. For a minute, I considered just leaving, signing the contract tomorrow and avoiding this whole scene. But then I thought about all those years of condescension, all those smirks, all those dismissive comments about my little garage hobby. F it, let's ride. I kept my distance, talking with the engineering teams who actually understood what we built. We got into this deep discussion about the new suspension system we designed for the Mojave package. About an hour in, I was discussing suspension geometry with Ridgeline's head of product development when I heard that familiar voice behind me. "Mason, what the hell are you doing here?" I turned around. "Hey, Liam." The product guy looked between us. "You two know each other?" Before I could answer, Liam jumped in. "My twin brother. Somehow scored an invite." That fake laugh again. "He runs a little garage shop that does aftermarket mods." The product guy's eyes went wide. "Wait, Mason Blackwell? From Talon Expeditions?" Liam froze like someone had hit pause on his entire existence. "That's me," I said. "Holy shit. Your brother is the founder of Talon? The Mason Blackwell? Our biggest aftermarket partner? The one behind the Expedition package?" The look on Liam's face was everything. Pure effing system failure. His entire worldview crashing in real time. The blue screen of death behind his eyes. People started gathering around us. Some VP slapped my back. "Mason, we've been trying to get you to one of these events for years. Your work is incredible." "The suspension system on the new Mojave package is revolutionary," another exec chimed in. "Our test drivers can't stop raving about it." Liam couldn't compute what was happening. His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Instead of rolling with it, he doubled down like the dumbass he is. "No, there's some mistake," he stammered. "My brother has a small mod shop. He works on used trucks in some industrial park. He's not— This can't be right." I just stood there, letting him dig his own grave. "This has to be a misunderstanding," Liam continued, getting louder. "Mason's company is just a backyard fantasy shop. It's not a real business. Tell them, Mason. Tell them you're not Talon." The room went dead silent, all eyes on us. You could hear ice melting in glasses. I shrugged. "Talon Expeditions. Founded it with Wyatt Keller in 2017. We do the Expedition package for the Ridgeline Maverick and Iron Horse models. Just finalized the military contract for the Border Patrol vehicles last month." Liam looked like he'd been hit with a sledgehammer. Then the mask cracked completely. "Bullshit," he shouted, his face turning red. "You've been working out of that shitty garage shop, always talking about custom builds like some hobbyist. You never mentioned Talon. You never said anything about military contracts." I kept my voice even. "You never asked, Liam." That's when he lost it completely. The perfect, successful twin suddenly realizing he'd been living in his brother's shadow all along. "This is ridiculous. He's making this up." He jabbed his finger in my face. "Get a real job, Mason. Stop embarrassing yourself. Everyone knows you're just a glorified mechanic playing businessman." The room was so quiet you could hear people blinking. Executives exchanged glances. Someone whispered, "Is he having a breakdown?" Liam's manufacturer's CEO stepped forward. "Liam, Mason's company did $42 million in revenue last year. They're expanding internationally next quarter. We've been trying to acquire them for 2 years." Liam's face went through every stage of grief in 5 seconds flat. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, then right back to denial again. He stammered something about needing air and bolted from the ballroom like his ass was on fire. I stayed for another hour, discussed our upcoming projects, then went home. Didn't chase him. Didn't explain shit to anyone. Just let reality speak for itself. That night, my phone blew up. 15 missed calls from Liam. 23 text messages, ranging from enraged, "You've been lying to the family for years," to desperate, "We need to talk right now," to suddenly supportive, "I always knew you had potential." Around 2 a.m., he showed up at my house, pounding on the door like a cop with a warrant. I could see him through the security camera, disheveled, still in his suit but with the tie loose and his hair a mess. "Mason, open the fucking door! I know you're in there!" I watched him on my phone screen while lying in bed, the sound muted. He kept pounding, kept shouting. After about 10 minutes, he sat on my porch steps, put his head in his hands, and started crying? Laughing? Hard to tell. Eventually, he left, but not before chucking an empty glass bottle at my garage door. Real classy. The next morning, my phone continued to blow up. Texts, calls, voicemails. The whole family suddenly wanted to talk. Liam had gone straight to our parents' house from my place and had a complete meltdown, telling them everything. My mom called sobbing, asking why I kept secrets from the family. My dad left this long-ass message about being blindsided and how family shouldn't hide things from each other. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly wanted to grab coffee. I let them all go to voicemail. I had a company to run and a plan to execute. Liam, in classic form, switched tactics. Sent me this pathetic paragraph about how he always believed in me and was just trying to push me to be my best. Said we should use this opportunity to collaborate more directly. Even suggested I create a position for him at Talon to manage brand communications. The effing audacity. Like we could just erase years of him shitting on me because now he knew I had money. His next text was even better. "Listen, bro, I know I've been hard on you, but that's what brothers do. Push each other to excel. Deep down, I always knew you were going to make it." "Sure you did, asshole." Then came the threats. "If you don't answer me, I'll come back to your house. We need to talk about how this affects the family." How this affects the family? How about how the family affected me for the last 15 years? How about the constant put-downs? The dismissal? The complete lack of interest or support? I didn't respond to any of it. Instead, I called an emergency meeting with our executive team at 7 a.m. By noon, we had drafted termination notices for our contract with Ridgeline Motors, effective immediately. By 2 p.m., our legal team had reviewed everything. By 4 p.m., the notices were delivered. No drama, no emotional scenes, just business. I did send one final email to the manufacturer's CEO with Liam CC'd. Let them know we were terminating all contracts, effective immediately. A new partnership was already signed, and all our components would be pulled from their vehicles within 30 days. No explanations, no back and forth, just business. That same night, I blocked Liam's number, his socials, everything. Then I headed to the garage and spent a few hours wrenching on my Project Bronco. Cleared my head. Slept better than I had in months. The fallout hit fast. Their stock dipped, industry blogs jumped on the story, and within a week, word got out that Liam's entire PR department had been gutted. He was quietly demoted to some title with no real power. Lost the office, the perks, the shine. They stuck him by the copier and called it a role. Did I feel bad? Not for a second. This guy spent 3 decades talking down to me, cracking jokes at my expense, making sure everyone in the family knew he was the successful twin. Meanwhile, I was out there building something real, and he never once asked a genuine question about it. Of course, that's when the guilt parade started. My mom texted me saying Liam might lose his house, that his life was falling apart. I replied once. He made his bed. Then came the soft invites. He wants to apologize, come to dinner. I ignored them. Then came the fire. My dad called, full yelling mode, accusing me of being immature and destroying my own brother. I let him rant, then said, "You've treated me like an afterthought for 32 years. You never asked about my business, never cared what I was building. And now that it's worth something, suddenly I'm relevant? Nah." Then I blocked his number too. A few weeks later, I was working late at the shop when my mom just showed up. Said the security guy recognized her from the pictures in my office. She looked around like she was seeing it all for the first time. The size of the place, the machines, the team's work up on the wall. All the stuff she never bothered to ask about. She asked why I never told them how big it had gotten. I told her straight up, they never asked. Not once. I wasn't hiding anything. They just weren't looking. Then came the tears. She said Liam was falling apart, drinking too much, his girlfriend left, company pushing him out. Said he needed me. I laughed. He needs me now? Where was that energy when he was mocking my garage business in front of the whole family? She said he was just jealous, that he felt stuck in a job he hated and took it out on me. Nice story, but I wasn't buying it. I told her the only way I'd even consider talking to him is if he looked me in the eye and admitted he spent years tearing me down because of his own insecurities, not because I was beneath him. She tried to hug me before she left. I stepped back. We're family, she said. We're related, I replied. There's a difference. 3 months later, I got a certified letter from Liam's lawyer, asking for financial help. Claimed my company's decision wrecked his life, said I had a moral obligation to help. My legal team sent back a one-liner. Get a real job. Last I heard, Liam's working at a small dealership in Idaho, writing service tickets. My parents sold their house and downsized, probably helping cover his bills. Not my problem. Meanwhile, we just crossed $75 million in revenue, locked in a 5-year military contract, and broke ground on my dream house. A mountain compound with a massive shop out back where I can build whatever I want, however I want. We've got 200 employees across 5 locations now. We started a foundation that trains and hires veterans, plus a scholarship program for low-income kids who want to get into engineering and fabrication. People ask if I miss my family. Truth? I miss the idea of family. The version where they support you, believe in you, show interest in what you're building. But I never had that to begin with, so I didn't lose anything real. I've got a new family now. The team, the shop, the people who saw value in what I was doing from the start. That's real. That's loyalty. Here's what I've learned. Success doesn't just reveal who you are, it reveals who everyone else is too. Some people will never handle it when the one they look down on rises above them. They'll either pretend they always believed in you or try to pull you back down. Don't let them. Stop waiting for their approval. Stop thinking they'll ever give you what they never had the capacity for. Just build. Build well. Build loud if you want to. And when you're done, don't let them rewrite the past. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. Some doors are better left shut. And walking away? That's not weakness. That's peace.